What is good, FBI fam? We are back again with another episode. I got my girl Chrissy on the other end over here. As of this recording, we're actually heading out to Lost Lands tomorrow. So we're getting ready for that. But by the time this episode drops, we will be back and hopefully recover from the Wook flu. But time
No
will
Wook
tell.
flu this year. It's not going to get us.
Actually, yeah, we got the Party Smart pills, and then I bought like these new morning recovery energy drinks, but it says you're supposed to drink it before you start drinking or when you're drinking. So I'm like, why is it called morning recovery? I thought it meant like you drink it to recover in the morning after.
Well, we're going to put that to the test, baby. Yeah, we got some tequila calling our name. So if you see us, let's take shots. Just kidding. This will already be out.
I was about to say, womp womp.
Womp womp.
Just kidding. Well, we do have some housekeeping things to take care of. So we got to give a shout out to our homies over at Hostile. They are throwing some of the craziest Rhythm Underground shows. I don't know if you guys have gone to any of their previous ones, but they got some stacked shows lined up in the next few weeks.
Dude, Hostile is doing it really unique, and it's super interesting because they're texting out the location for a lot of these shows day of. So that's appealing to the underground, and it's different from a lot of what you've seen in LA recently. Like, I feel like a lot of LA is the club shows, and obviously the rhythm culture doesn't really land that well in those nice, fancy bouncer clubs. So We're super stoked. They're doing stuff at 1720. They've got YVM3, Sanzu. They have Automates playing a viol set, which is super sick. So you guys need to check them out if you haven't already.
Yeah. We'll be sure to link their tickets in the description and their Instagram page. So definitely give them a follow, subscribe to their text messaging. Yes. We're definitely going to try to find some time to make it out there. I mean, who knows, man? I'm supposed to be either going to Gold Rush October 4th or going to staying in San Diego. So if I end up staying in San Diego, I'm looking at the calendar. I might just go up to the YVM3 show.
Dude, that would be sick.
So we shall see what happens.
Yeah, super stoked about everything they're doing. So definitely stay locked with them.
Yes. And also, you have all been asking us about the bags, the FBI bags. And trust us, we're working on it. We are actually waiting we're working on V2. We're waiting for the samples to arrive. And we made a few edits. So just so you guys know and are ahead of the game, we are thinking of adding like waterproof zippers, waterproof material, and just some other cool little features just to make it more of an upscale, higher end bag.
These bags are flying off the shelves. Like, we did not expect the bags to be so popular. We probably could have doubled or tripled the quantity that we ordered last time, but I feel like that's what makes it special. That's what makes it a unique merch drop. So shout out to everyone who copped the phase 1 bags and stay locked for phase 2, hopefully by the holidays.
Yes. If you haven't already, subscribe to our Laylo because those fans are the first to hear for any exclusive drops. And we will also drop that in the description below.
Text our asses. We will text you back if you say something funny.
Yeah, we've been getting some of the most interesting text messages on that app. So I'm just like, y'all have a lot of time in your days, clearly.
But it is actually us. So we see everything. So don't hold back.
Yeah, and the DMs too, it's either me or Chrissy. We're the only ones handling social medias for all the accounts. It's literally just the two of us. We don't trust anyone to handle the accounts. So that's just how we are. It's just us handling it.
It's just us. It wouldn't be the FBI if it wasn't us, you know? You wouldn't have that little flair that everyone loves. So, but we just wanted to also, on a closing note, say thank you to everyone who's been supporting us this year, last year, the last few years. Like, it means the world to us. And we're super excited to just keep meeting you all and just to show you what else we have in store because big things coming. FBI.
How you been? It's been so long.
I know. I'm good. I'm alive. I'm vertical. The album's finished, so my life is a little bit easier. I thought it would be way easier, but now I'm gearing up for the tour. So here we are again.
I know. It's like one thing leads into another, and each one is bigger than the last.
Yep. Yeah. Just when you think it's going to kind of slow down a little bit, it has its way of rearing its head again, right?
Yeah.
Also, how is it already September? Like, what is happening? I went to Costco over the weekend and I'm like, how's already Christmas decorations?
Dude, I saw that at Costco the other day.
I'm like, I love Halloween and I always want it to be Halloween, but can we slow down a little bit?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Can we just put more Halloween decorations and then bring in the Christmas decorations after?
Mm-hmm.
Spread it out a little bit, please, for all of our
kids. I know. And they were like, at Costco, they were selling the haunted house entry cards. And it's like, starting September 20th. And then I looked at my phone and I was like, that's in like 2 or 3 days.
I knew we announced the album on September 18th. And I'm sitting there the other day. They go, it's like beginning of September. We have plenty of time. No, it's not. It's like September 15th.
Yeah, August just poof disappeared. Like last I knew, we were just getting back from Rampage in July and like it was still summer and the pool was open. Now the pool's closed, which is a huge L. So
major. I'm not happy with what happened with August. That was too fast. I don't like this.
I know.
August was like our rest month because we went super crazy starting in like May all the way up until our Rampage stage takeover. And then we were like, okay, no more. August is going to be our rest month. Didn't even feel like we rested at all.
Yeah, of course. Of course, that's the short one. That's the month that went absurdly short.
Yeah. But anyways, where are you? You're still in Florida, right? Where are you tuning in from?
I am tuning in from Tampa. I'm at the apartment here. I just got a new laptop. I don't know how the laptop and internet is. Can you guys hear me here? Can you see me? Is it okay?
Dude, you sound good and you look crystal clear.
Come on. Let's go.
Like, what kind of laptop is that?
Yeah, what kind of laptop?
Yo, it's the brand new Mac. It's the new I don't know. There's like an M and like a
M3?
What is it?
Is it the M3 or the M2?
The 3.
Bro, that's so nice.
We like it.
Tres.
Yeah, you're gonna run that. Yeah, no problems there.
Yo,
he's over here like, look at me. Mm-hmm.
He's like, I don't know which one it is.
I had been on the same laptop since I started touring, and it was on its last legs. It was doing this thing where it was way like out of space. So it kept just syncing my music to the cloud and like deleting the local copy of it. So I would be on the road and I'd pull up to some city and I'd be like, all right, time to like work on my set. And all my songs would be missing. And I'd be disastrous. So I was sitting there and I realized on the Apple website, if I ordered a new laptop within like an hour and 7 minutes, it would get to me that day and I could like get started working on the tour set on that. So I'm like sitting there. That's why I don't even know which one this is. That I was just like, this looks good. You know?
Yeah. It's funny how quick they are with the deliveries now. It's like Prime is like same day, you know?
Same day, same app. This guy was at my front door within like 2 hours.
It's crazy.
That's crazy to me. Yeah. It's like the closer you are to an Apple store, like the quicker it's like DoorDash. You can DoorDash a MacBook Pro now.
And the annoying thing is if I wanted to like change like one feature, it was like, okay, well, it'll actually be 3 weeks. So like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to buy it.
Yeah.
So how long did you have this last laptop for? Like your entire music career?
Yeah, it was like roughly around when they invented the wheel, they delivered the laptop to me. And I've had it since then. In actuality, it was like probably 6 years, but in like music industry, 6 years is.
That's like dog years.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah.
In computer years alone, like I feel like I have the iPhone 14 Pro Max and this thing is already out of date.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Dog years would be like a multiplier of 7. I feel like computer years, it's like a multiplier of like 20.
Yeah. Well, good on you. You got to spoil yourself sometimes. I know it's a big purchase.
It was. I looked at my credit card statement yesterday. I was like, what? Oh, yeah, it was that.
Yeah, you're like, who took my credit card?
No.
But how is your workflow now?
It's been up and down. At the end of the album, uh, by the end of the album, like I only submitted the album probably 6 weeks ago for the final submission. And by the end of that, my workflow was horrible because I had heard all the songs so many times, and and like I do all my mixes and mastering, so I was so in the weeds and overthinking things, and it was just I've been working on the same 12 songs for too long, and I when I submitted the album, it was like popping a pimple, like everything was just okay. Now it got worse, 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 worse until okay, we're great. So then it was good. Then I started working on the tour set. And at first it was super like I was flowing because it was more just like I like to make a bunch of ideas and like just flow, flow, flow before I start constricting and figuring out what actually is going to work. And but now I'm in the place where it's okay, now I need to figure out how this is actually going to work. How can I get from this song to this song in the live set? How can I do this to this without feeling a little too drag, like so now I'm back in the like, oh God, and it's like I want every moment to count, but I'm also playing these new songs, but I also don't know how they're going to respond to all the songs. I don't know which ones are going to hit best, and they're vocal songs, so it's not like you just play, oh, it's a new banger. It's kind of like you kind of got to know it a little bit. So there are a lot of factors, and I'm so now I've slowed down to the speed of smell.
The speed of smell. That should be your new tagline.
Trivecta, the speed of smell. That's your next album.
Next album in 2037.
We better get royalties on that. All right.
Yeah.
I got you. 33.
Are you going to be trying to play all of the album songs in your sets, or what can fans expect from that?
So in my head, I have come up with the idea that every song on the album is either going to be like dreadful in the live set, but it's also going to be, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't play this. So it's like, my mind has convinced me that both of these things are true. So I have reasons why. So like, I don't know. I feel like it's a balance, right? When you go see an artist on a new album tour, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. Like when you go see an artist on an album tour, it's got to be a balance, right? Because you kind of hate when they're playing a ton of new music, and it's like, all right, I did fall in love with this artist for the songs they already had. I want to get a good representation of that, but at the same time, you also want to play the new stuff too. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think is a healthy balance?
I feel like a lot of fans don't understand that you go on tours like centered around releases, that some artists do that. And so I feel like you're right. They come to your set being like, oh my God, Trivecta, like I really want to hear that one song, or like those songs from like 2019, 2020, whatever. And not understanding that like this tour is to help promote the big release. And maybe they are not even aware that you had an album or that you have new music. So for me, I feel like if I'm a diehard fan and I'm going out and buying tickets to your tour, I'm going to want to hear all the new music and some of the older stuff too. But a lot of it would be the new music because assuming I would have seen you before to play those old songs before. So that's just me. But I know a lot of people aren't that like deep in it to understand.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. But also like maybe you could look at stream numbers too and see what songs are streaming better than others and go with those ones in the sets. And then just kind of like as you're playing in the tour, like I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of artists, they'll tailor their sets like, okay, the crowd reaction wasn't the best for this song, so maybe I'll replace it with this song or flip it with this or mash it up with this song. So I don't know. I feel like you can just kind of play it by ear and see how the crowd reacts. And I mean, the crowd's the best. Like if you're in Denver, people love the heavy shit here in Denver, as you know. So they'll be down to like, there's a lot of crybangers here too, so they'll be down to like sing the songs along and then like switch it up to like a heavy drop,
Yeah. And so that to me, my approach is basically combining what you guys both just said. But the problems I now run into are because I have, visuals and stuff like that need to get done. I pretty much need to have my target dates, like have the set done is like 2 or 3 days after the album comes out. So that kind of screws me when it comes to like, because I was going to go off what you're saying. It's great to watch the numbers and see what's doing better. But it's like, oh, well, okay, there goes that. And the other thing, obviously, I like the thing about you tailor to crowd response. But the other thing is some of the music I play, some of this style of music. I remember Lenium told me when I first started touring, he was like, when you're making this kind of music, you can't always tell if they're into it, especially the songs that might be a little bit more of an emotional moment. They're not necessarily moving around. They could literally just kind of be taking it in, and you're like, "Oh, I suck," and they're, and then they walk up to you after the show and they show you a tattoo, and you're like, "Yeah, changed my life," So yeah, so like all of the theory are like the approach, but I also halfway I'm kind of flying blind with this too.
Mm-hmm. You could also maybe like go live on Insta a few days after it releases and be like, what songs are you guys digging the most? Like, what do you want to hear live? Like, use it as an opportunity to chat on socials with people.
I like this a lot.
And Instagram comments, just like, how are we all feeling about the album, blah, blah, blah. And then just see what everyone's commenting, just like Instagram Live.
You know what? I'm bringing you guys onto the next album campaign. That's very helpful.
Publicity team right here, baby.
Those are actually really good ideas. I will do both of those. Yeah.
One last question though about your tour set. I'm curious. Are you going to be touring with a VJ this time around?
Yeah. So I actually brought Angie on for the last tour, and she'll be with me for this tour as well. She's great. She is small but mighty. She commands a presence behind the table back there. Yeah, so we've had a chance to work a lot more intently this time around, as far as like preparation and working with visual designers to make some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's probably kind of reassuring to have your own VJ person back there working things, making sure they all look good. Because I know like we manage some rising artists right now, Antihero and Thrasha. And sometimes it's kind of like, okay, go up there. And then you're not sure like if they're going to do house visuals or sometimes you just don't know. So,
oh my God.
It can be a crapshoot. And also like the sets I play are pretty dynamic, like if you just play like, melodic stuff for the whole night, it can kind of be a little slow. So I try to switch it up, as you guys know, keep it, really up and down. And if I have a visual package that is made for that, I have things that are higher energy, things that are more vibey. And a house VJ usually is not going to take the time to go through and figure out what to do with when. And I remember during one show, and I won't shout out the show, but I remember one where the house VJ, Angie couldn't make it, and I was stuck with the house VJ. And I played the first like 30 minutes of my set, and when they used like the most demonic visual that I had. And I'm sitting here playing like, she's singing Kiss Me Like I'm Oxygen. And meanwhile, this like red demon is like, rah. It's really, it was the
like,
only
bro.
time in my life. I think it's the only time in my life I like yelled at somebody on stage. I was like,
Oh my gosh, you had to bring it up on stage.
Yeah, I didn't. Thankfully, I yelled at. There was like a stagehand that I yelled at.
Okay, that's good.
Like get on the mic, but that would have actually been funny.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, in my head, I kind of want to say I was cool enough to get on the mic, but I think I just said it to the stage.
Well, I mean, recently, Hamro and Squishy were playing in Detroit, I think it was, and there were like the wrong visuals were not on the screen, and they literally got on the mic during their set, and they were like, "Hey, yo, VJ, like take that down!" Like it was like some nasty horror shit. So
there have been a few instances. I forget, maybe it was Blank. It was like somebody was playing in Orlando a few years ago and had like somebody was putting like messages, inappropriate messages on the screen.
I remember Blank bringing that up.
That must have been
That's terrible.
Yeah. Worst nightmare. Because then it ruins your like demeanor and your whole tone for the set. You're all worried about it.
Yeah, especially when you're doing something like an album tour too. You want to keep it pretty tight. You want to keep it relatively the same each night, even as if you tweak it as you go.
Yeah, definitely got to keep the consistency going.
Yeah,
because there's fans who are going to go and like to multiple stops.
Yeah, and you want to make sure people, and also you want to make sure people in the different cities are getting the right experience too.
Yeah. Worth it.
And I mean, for you, like, I wouldn't worry too much about if people are vibing to the songs or not, because I feel like your stage energy is just so like amazing anyway. Like you get on the guitar and like the energy that you put out is the energy you're going to get back. So like,
thank you.
Even if people are not dancing or like, I know for me, when I'm really amazed by something and like the song is melodic and emotional, like I'm just still and I'm just recording, or I'm just like still.
I said the same thing. I was saying the same thing to somebody recently, that like when I'm taking something in, I'm usually doing less the more I'm taking something in, you know?
Mm-hmm. I just want to sit there with my hood on and be like,
that's about to be us at Lost Lands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go on lots of side quests in the crowd.
There you go.
Go meet the fans.
Hopefully you find yourself doing that frequently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I have a question about the rollout for this album. So, you had several singles come out before, and in the press release from Ophelia, they mentioned not only do you have the album tour, you have a couple of other little tidbits, a set recorded in the outdoors, things like that. So how did you kind of first start brainstorming the process for this rollout? And what advice do you have for upcoming artists who maybe don't have as much experience building a comprehensive rollout like this?
That's a really thoughtful question. I appreciate you asking that. It came from me being neurotic about the idea that I could potentially put so much time into the music and not feel like it is visually represented as well as it could be. And so I would sit there with Google Documents, and whenever I would get an idea, I would just add another thing to it. And then I would like go on on Instagram, and I'd see if other artists were releasing albums. I would try to see, okay, is there anybody doing anything interesting that I could maybe tweak and do my own kind of spin on this? And eventually you go through and I start being like, okay, well, which ones of these actually make sense? Which of these 250 ideas might actually be feasible here? And the drone set was one of the coolest ones. That one was also probably the most challenging one. But I'm so proud of it. I think it's probably one of my proudest, I guess, things I've put together. And it really kicked my ass, but it was worth it after all. The advice I would give for people trying to do album rollouts and stuff like that is try to hone in on what your lane is and what you're pulling together, what sort of makes you, and also watch what other people are doing and think, are there ways that I can take lessons from that and apply that towards what I do. And like for me, a big thing was, for example, I saw like artists like our buddies Cream, they do those crazy drone sets. And
I love them.
I was thinking great, right? And I was thinking a lot of my music is folkier in influence. So I was thinking, why not do my own kind of spin on it and take it up to the mountains in like Denver, and go and like lean into the folkier tunes that I maybe don't always get to play in the live sets. And, so that was, I think, an example of taking things that I'm seeing and curving it into my own space a little bit. And it was a lot of little things like that. We're working on some other little fun kind of activations and whatnot. And I always feel like I didn't do enough. And I always feel like people are going to hate it all. And then people always end up loving it. And I'm trying to learn that this is a like the drone set. I was like, yeah, everybody's going to hate this. I was like, I'm just going to put it out. I'm not going to look. And all the fans are like, Sam, this is like our favorite thing you've ever done. Like, all right. But maybe I should start trusting in these things a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, like just realizing that you're the leader here. This is your creative vision. People follow you because they love you and what comes out of your head. So at the end of the day, and we always practice this, like as a management, we're like, well, you're the artist, like you're the leader here. You tell us your vision. Let's execute your vision. And we're just here to elevate that. So I really respect all the details and everything.
Such a great approach. And that's awesome that you guys do that from a management perspective, because what a great philosophy. And I think artists need to remember that, at the end of the day, it does come down to you. As my buddy Jake Kill the Noise has said, you are the nervous center of the central nervous center of your entire project. Everything needs to sort of stem from you. So I think the more you can get your creative fingerprints on everything, usually the better it's all going to go.
Yeah. And one final point on that is like, if you're an artist and someone else is telling you how to format your creative vision, not only is that going to obviously upset you and it might not turn out how you like, but I feel like the fans can kind of sense it when it's not 100% authentic and when it doesn't 100% piece together too.
Yeah. I think the thing about the fans sensing it is spot on. You can sense when the artist is really putting themselves out there and trying those things. And I think, especially with albums, I try to really do that. Collabs, I'll play it obviously more down the middle, see what, me and the other artists are doing together. But I think my fans know album wise, I like try to really be like, all right, here's what's really, really ticking for me. And if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I'm going to really go for it. And that usually tends to have the biggest payoff.
And where did you take all those press photos? Were those all in Colorado? Because
Cool, right?
they're so cool. I love them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I actually did a handful. I did a few different shoots. I did some of those shots in Nashville, actually. I saw the artist Saad Ven, maybe Sod Ven. They sang Leave the Light On, the most recent single. They're a folk act out of Nashville. And I saw their profile and I was like, I want to look like you guys do. And like, okay, well, here's our photographer, Jake Matthews. And I got in touch with him. I was like, all right, just put me where you put them and can we just do it? And then
just stick me right there.
Yeah, literally. And then I did some with Danelle Painter out in Portland. That was like the we had the coast of Oregon. We actually went. And that's where like the shots for ocean, where I'm like standing by like the epic beachside and like the cliffs and everything. And then when we shot that drone set, we did some more out in the fields in the mountains of Colorado too.
Yeah, this whole like rollout process is super thoughtful. And I can tell that you definitely put a lot of work into it. Like,
oh, thank you.
It's a lot of work. It's not easy.
No, not at all.
I've lost so much sleep over it, and I still think that I could probably get the creative vision across better. But I think that's kind of that's the drive that keeps us doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. Were you trying to tell a story? Because obviously you released Alaska first, and then Ocean.
Yeah.
Watch the stars. Leave the light on. How did you, what was your thought process behind that rollout? Were you trying to tell a story with that?
Yeah, great question. So at first we were thinking Ocean. I was talking to the label, Ophelia, and at first we were all kind of thinking Ocean because it's so it's easy. It's very accessible for a lot of the fans who listen to this kind of music. But I pivoted at the last minute. I was like, I really want to do Alaska because to me, it kind of summed up I knew it would not be, I knew Alaska wouldn't be as easily accessible to every EDM fan as Ocean would be, but I thought it asserted a creative vision as well as anything else on the album would. I felt like no matter where the wind is blowing, let it take me where it's going, to me felt like a much stronger, as far as it just felt much more in line with the message of the overall album than something more love related, which Ocean is still one of my favorite songs I've ever made. But as far as what would be the first single, to me, I also wanted to send a message that the sort of folk based niche I've sort of, I guess, kind of like pioneered here. I wanted to send a message that this is back, that I do this for my albums. I don't do it as much for the collabs, but I want to let the fans know, like, look, album Sam is back. We're doing this again. And so that was the thinking with that. And then it was like, okay, after that, let's go straight down the middle and hit them with something super easy to digest with Ocean. If somebody maybe didn't connect as much with the folkier side, if you're going to a melodic bass show, if you're going to an Insomniac event in SoCal, you're probably going to vibe with Ocean, and then
Absolutely.
after that, then I was like, all right, for the third one, I wanted to just be like, okay, I'm not just making melodic bass. I'm like, and that's where it's like, okay, I've been loving the whole LS Dream, Enzo, that kind of stuff. And
Enzo,
to me,
yeah.
So cool, right? It's one of my favorite kind of niches right now. And I've been spending a lot of time doing that. And I was like, all right, I'm not doing 3 straight like cry bangers as my singles. I'm going to come in. And interestingly enough, it was like, all right, I want to put out Leave the Light On too. I wanted to do an A side, B side. And typically you do the vocal as the A side because it'll stream better. But I was like, you know what, man, it's 2024. I'm trying to maybe if you weren't a Trivecta fan, maybe you hear Watch the Stars and go, oh shit, I'm actually into this, So I was like, let's just hit them hard with that. Why not?
Yeah, a lot of the songs, like I was listening to the album all the way through. It kind of reminds me of that YouTube channel Circle. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, of course.
All like the outdoor, like vibey sets. Like it kind of reminds me of that, especially the set that you recorded. But also just like, it just makes me want to just get in my car, go drive up I-70 and just go to the mountains and just cruise, literally.
You just made my day. I like try to actually make the album stuff feel like that, and I worry that it doesn't get across sometimes. So it's amazing to hear that. So thank you.
Yeah, and I could see Alaska being like the next song that like a lot of people in the crowd would sing to be honest.
Yeah. A lot of fans are saying they're excited to hear that one live. So that I'm excited for that
Get
one.
it added to the live set.
Oh, that one's it.
Sorry.
Thankfully, all the singles are layups. You know, I'm going to have Alaska, I'll have Watch the Stars, Ocean, Leave the Light On, and then Light in the Dark, the fans don't know, is going to be on there, which is the Wooly and the Seven Lions collab. And like that one, I don't usually do collabs on albums or anything, but this one, I mean, there's five.
It's a given.
5 easy live tunes right there, you know, and then there's like, and then, Find My Way, the title track, is such a vibey jammer, but like, it's slow, it's like lower energy, but to me, I feel like it's just going to breathe so well live. I'm going to rip that. So, that's easy.
Literally, that's the one where I'm like, I just want to like just drive and just vibe out and then, or just go camping song, and right? Just like, yeah, it's a road trip song, or just if you're camping, just lay out, watch the stars, have a fire going. I don't know. It's like very vibey.
Oh, that's great to hear that. I'm like trying to figure out how. I was literally just before this call trying to think on how the hell I'm going to get out of that in the live show. Like, how am I going to ramp it back up after that? We'll figure that out.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the love songs or like the breakup songs. And one of the quotes in the press release that you gave was, "We've cried about breakups already. It's time to heal." Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, I love a good, like, I don't even just want to say love song, but like anything related to relationships, any kind of, there's a reason why they do well. But I feel like I've said this for years. There is so much more that we can do with melodic bass music than just more sad songs about breakups. I feel like the spectrum of what we can sing about is so much more vast and nuanced than that. And I feel like melodic bass hit kind of a critical mass, even just a couple years ago, even where it started to get to this point where it's like, all right, these are all starting to sound the same. That, and to me, a big part of that, one of the parts of that is just lyrical content. I listen to a lot of music that I love that isn't about love, and it's about other things. And I feel like, I don't know, for this album, I was like, I want to include some of that for sure, but I wanted to make sure that this album wasn't just about, you broke up with me and now I'm sad.
Mm-hmm. You're speaking to the single choir over here. We don't have any love in our lives. No.
Yeah.
Literally.
I feel that. I gotcha.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. That's right. So what are you going to do? Y'all aren't going to sit there all day and listen to a sad song about a breakup. I mean,
No.
Come on.
No.
Yeah.
No. And actually it's funny because we always talk about this, like, you can't control what's happened. You can only control what happens in the future. So when breakups have happened for us, like, we're not going to dwell on it. We're just going to get our shit together because we're boss ass bitches. And we know that. We know we're better than that. We got our own businesses going. We got our own full-time jobs going for ourselves. Like, we got so much going for ourselves. So we're not going to let this, ruin us or hold us back,
That's
just wasn't meant to be.
My next single, next single is going to be like, yo, I know you broke up with me, but I'm a boss ass bitch. And I got my own business.
Yes, we need that. It's time. Well, it's like, there's a quote out there and it's like, did you have a bad day or did you just have 10 minutes where someone bothered you and then you let that affect your entire day? Get the fuck up and keep working.
Yeah.
So that's the attitude around here.
Is this going to matter in 5 years? No. Then shut up.
Yeah.
I thought about that actually yesterday. Yesterday at the airport, I was like a little annoyed. I forget even what I was. See, that's the point. I don't even remember what I was annoyed about. But I was like, I should remember that I won't remember this. And who knew that the next day I wouldn't even be able to remember it. So yeah.
And it's like, I feel like we live in vacuums where, especially in the music industry, and like if you have a high visibility page or brand, like you're constantly self-reflecting and you're like, oh, I could have tweaked that. I could have, done that differently. Like, what if they don't like it? And those are all things that circle around in our heads up here. But the person next to you has their own problems that they're thinking about. They don't care. They see your post and they're like, that's awesome. Yeah. Like, we just are so hard and critical on ourselves. And the problems that weigh on us so much people don't even notice that we're like, it's not a problem to them. You know, we make it our own problem kind of. So remembering that's how I cope.
And that right there could literally like that. You could word that real eloquently, and there could be a theme for a song right there that's not about love.
There you go.
There you go.
Motivation songs.
Come on.
Yeah, we're helping you come up with your next big hit.
Yeah, we better be involved.
I'm saying we've already got a couple down right there.
I love it.
We're just spitting lines over here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have one more question before we move into the fan submission, but so you have had one of the quickest growing brands in EDM, especially since COVID. And I'm just curious, like, what has been one of the most crazy moments of your career, whether it be a release, a live set, like meeting someone? Is there a moment that stands out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As soon as you asked, I already knew. It was the tent incident at Sunset Music Festival a couple years ago. There was definitely a growth during the COVID thing where I was an artist that had recently transitioned into playing live shows. But before that, a lot of my strength was making things for people on the internet. Mm-hmm. And when COVID happened, I was like, well, we're kind of going back to where I came from here. And I felt like I might be in a spot where I might have an advantage compared to people who are just kind of throwing parties every night, which obviously is that's its own thing right there. But like I was in a spot where I was like, okay, hang on. But I've been focused on making tunes this whole time. Maybe I can communicate my fans even more what these tunes are about, start talking to them, so on and so forth. So I started streaming as I was working and the fans wanted to see it. And anyway, we had a big growth period during COVID. And Sunset Music Festival was, I think, the second festival back after COVID. And it retained the same lineup and set times as it had before COVID, before it got canceled. So that had me playing Doors. And it was like 3 p.m. Doors were also at 3 p.m. It wasn't even like the hour kind of thing.
That sucks. So I hate when they do that.
It was so rough. And when the set times dropped, my fans rioted. I mean, Disco Donnie, who I had never talked to at the time, Donnie slid into my DMs and Donnie was like, dude, I feel like your fans are going to show up outside my window right now with pitchforks. And it became this whole thing where even Donnie played into it. And Donnie was like, all right, like, you assholes, I'm working on it. Hang on. And like, even Donnie himself was making memes about it. He posted a flyer, a mock Sunset flyer that was called Trivecta Set Music Festival. And it was just me at every time.
Oh my gosh.
And so ultimately, he was like, the best fix I can do for you guys. He was like, I'm going to put Sam in the cool down tent at like 6 o'clock. So Sam will be playing 3 o'clock at Doors, but also a second set for you guys, you know, in the cool down set a few hours later, cool down tent a few hours later. So we go to the cool down tent for me to play. My first set that I played, I started and there was nobody, you know, because the doors were just, and so the cool down tent, I go to play. And at first the line to the bathroom was so long that I couldn't even get into the tent. And I'm like, and then I realized the line to the bathroom was actually the line to the tent, like wrapped all the way around a few times. And I'm like, oh no. And so I get in and I go to play and it was like the energy in that thing before I hit play was like nothing I'd ever seen. And I hit play on the first song and there's a video. By the time it gets to the third drop, the crowd was jumping up and down so loud and they were so upset that they couldn't all get in that they lifted up the sides and they're like digging under and coming in from all sides.
Stop.
And they pulled, the fire marshal pulled the music. I think my set was about 2 minutes and 30 seconds and they cut everything and made everybody get out. And that was, the whole set was literally that. It was 2.5 minutes.
No. Oh my gosh.
I mean, you can't be mad, I guess.
Oh my God. It was so much for the better. I mean, it was that was like emblematic of what was going on at the time. Yeah, it was that was definitely the craziest moment for sure.
Wow, I have chills.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I would have been kind of scared too. I would have been like, is this tent gonna fall while I'm playing? Like, should I be concerned?
We had like some of our buddies were in there, like Wooly and Seven Lions. They came back and like Jeff Seven Lions had his parents there, and they were all like there was plenty of room before we got in there. And once we got in there, it was like, and I remember the chaos. They're like escorting everybody out, and it's like people are getting pulled. And I look over, and Jeff's dad, Seven Lions' dad, is just standing there. He's just like got his hand up for a big high five. I'm like, my man.
Yes, you got that dad high five.
Yup.
Ooh, speaking of Seven Lions though, and Wooly, how did that collab happen? Like, was that planned for your album, or was that something you guys were already working on? I'm just curious.
Yeah. That one, how did we start that? Jeff sent an idea and he was like, hey guys, you want to do another one? And we were like, all right, man, let's get in here and let's do it. And we struggled so much to come up with what we wanted to do for some of the ideas on that. Because we all wanted it to be really good, obviously. And we probably, I don't even know how many drops we tried for this song, but we tried 15, 20 different drop ideas maybe before
Damn.
it all kind of settled in. And then once it was all getting together, I was like, hey guys, I'm working on an album.
Like, hey, X.
Hey.
It was like, are you guys okay with me putting this on there? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Love little teasers like that. The fans deserve those little teasers.
I was like, you know what? And they were both really cool about it. We were talking about, Jeff and I have another collab, the big drinking song that we're working on, and that felt a little too far from the album vibe wise. So I was all right, let's try to slot this bad boy on there. So I'm very grateful to Adam and Jeff for being down for me to put this on there. Yeah.
Well, it looks like it goes off live because someone sent us a video on the FBI page of it's like Seven Lions playing the collab live, but
yeah,
it looks like it goes off.
Yeah, it's a big moment for sure. Yeah, and there's 3 really cool drops, all very different. So Island was like a. I mean, nobody could have seen Island becoming what it became. You can't really plan those things. I think we kind of had to sort of in our heads make sure we weren't trying to kill ourselves trying to make another Island. It was just like, let's just make an awesome tune and just make sure all the drops hit and make sure the vocals are really big, and that's all you can do, really.
Did each of you kind of take the lead on a drop? You said there were 3 drops.
It was different for each of them. You can tell where Wooly did his Wooly thing.
The Wooly was wooling.
Yeah. Woolified.
It's pretty easy to tell what part Wooly did. I always say Wooly has his. Sometimes we'll be like, all chatting, and like Wooly will just like drop like a completely unrelated meme in the conversation. And I'll be like, Wooly, your timing there was just obnoxious. And it's funny because I realize his drops are the same exact thing. It's just like, it's just like, and you can tell, I mean, it works so well though. You see those kids going crazy live. And so you can tell which parts he did, and we all collabed together on the techno last drop. And the first part, Jeff and I went back and forth, and Willie threw his hat in the ring on that too. The first melodic drop. The first melodic drop was really cool because I've wanted to make an old school melodic dubstep drop with Jeff for a while now. So it was really cool to kind of kick off something in that realm and sort of see what he can do with it. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy how like Island still goes off every time you hear it live. Like when did that song drop? Was it 2019, 2020? 2019, right? I think
it was 18.
Oh, wow. 18. It's an oldie, but a goodie.
Yeah. I'll play like, we'll go too long without playing the original, playing like a remix or something. And people will be like, you got to bring back the original Island. And I'm like, all right, great.
2019, January.
Was it 2019? Okay,
wow, you're at 26 million on that on Spotify.
Jesus.
Congratulations,
brother.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah, right?
Oh, man. Well, yeah, we have a question here we have a couple questions, but these ones I'm actually curious about. So Ben, he's actually covering your album on DUBSTEP FBI. He's a reporter for us, but he also has an alias. He goes by Balix.
Okay.
So he says, been a huge fan for a long time, being one of the pioneers of folk bass and fastest rising artists the bass community has seen in recent years, who have been some of your biggest musical inspirations?
Um, that answer kind of changes over time, I guess. What at first Avicii, then like Skrillex. So Avicii was like the melody stuff and and then Skrillex was like the heavy kind of stuff. And then like every melodic bass artist, it was like Seven Lions, and it was like, okay, because you could make things just sound so big and immersive. And he kind of also wrote the playbook for how to make live sets work with this kind of music too. And then after that, around like 2019, when I was writing the Everyday EP, it became about how do you really create your own lane. And for me, then that's where I started phasing in my love of like folk music and stuff like that, and of Monsters and Men, Mumford and Sons, Green Sky, Bluegrass, Manchester Orchestra, any Bon Iver, stuff like that. And that became a really big influence. And that's actually still one of my biggest influences, especially for this album too. Novo Amore, like really just folky stuff that makes you feel like you're walking through the mountains. And that's really been, how do I phase that into what I do? Then I got really big into Rufus Du Sol while I was working on this album. There aren't obvious influences, but there's definitely a lot of spots where it's noticeable. And then lately, I've been into the Enzo Ellis Dream kind of world. And that's what you heard, like Watch the Stars and stuff like that. Yeah, it kind of varies over time, but those are some of the main ones.
Ooh, did you ever see Avicii live?
I did, actually. I saw him once in Tampa in like 2012, maybe. Did you?
Yeah, he was actually one of my first EDM shows, like big EDM shows. It was Deadmau5 playing at Petco Park in San Diego back in 2010. Yeah. And Avicii was direct support. So like that's crazy. That's what got me into EDM. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I feel like that sound, I feel like people are kind of I could be wrong, but I almost kind of feel like people are craving a little bit of that sound again. Like it's been, and I'm taking some risks on this tour. I've got a couple edits I've made of some of my tunes that go back to that 128 BPM big chord, I think that people are going to and if they don't like it, well, we'll find it. But yeah, I think that sound is pretty timeless.
Yeah. I was listening to old TST, like some old Big Room today. And I was like, damn, this is a vibe.
I get getting away from it because things always got to kind of like keep evolving. But it's like eventually things kind of want to come back, and I'm kind of feeling like, because even you see like your Tate B's of the world are bringing back the dubstep from around.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like they're bringing back that early 2010s dubstep. So, and I feel like that's almost a response to the, over the top headbang dubstep that's hit so hard for so long, but it's also been hitting for a while. So it's like, all right, what else do we got here? And now I almost feel like House is probably having a similar thing where it's like, we've had so much kind of stuff for a while that, it's kind of getting to be like, all right, can we get some anthems back,
Yeah. And like, to your point, I think thinking about the generations and how like, back in the Big Room era, we were just coming onto at least I was just coming onto the EDM scene. Like that was all new to me. And now 10, 15 years later, there's a lot of the audience who have never heard those Big Room bangers. So like, think about it like the Gen Alphas, the Gen Zs, like we got to educate them.
We do. We might be able to just dip into that pot and it looks like we're inventing the wheel here.
Literally. I'm sure you'll get credit for it.
Yeah.
Start a trend.
Yeah. Well, Balix had one more question. There was a second part to his question that I'm really curious about. So he's asking, how has the Ophelia brand and the artists on the label helped influence your sound into what it is today? And if it played any part in the composition of your album or any of the tracks that you're working on?
Awesome. It's been so instrumental. It's been just so helpful having those guys. The label itself, first of all, gives me so much creative freedom. Jeff, Ben, Jack, Stan, just the people working there just do such a good job of making me feel empowered to make the creative decisions I want. I don't think I ever once have somebody asked me like, do you have to, and obviously like a smaller artist coming up through Ophelia would have a different sort of pathway here, but somebody asked me like, have you, do you have to get them to sign off on like each song on the album? And I was like, yo, I feel so empowered to do what I want, and that makes that right there goes such a long way. But the dudes in the group, some of them, everybody has just been so helpful with this album and with the music before it. Jake Kill the Noise is one of I'll always cite him as one of my most valued perspectives on everything. He always has something interesting to say, usually 20 interesting things to say, and it's always good when you see the Jake is recording audio. That's usually when you've reeled in a big one. And he's been great to get feedback from, and actually an interesting sort of new a new player has been Andrew Bayer. I music for so long, and we've all started talking and hanging out with him a lot more in the last year or two, and he has been such a good set of ears on the music that I work on, and he always has such interesting feedback, and he'll be the first one to pull up to start film me a video, like going through and give me some borderline neurotic bit of commentary about one little sound, and it's so helpful, and it's the stuff I need, and there was one song, for example, on the album I was really overthinking, and Andrew was like he was like, Sam, if I had this vocal, I think he said that he would be afraid to touch it because it's like that strong. And that reassured me on how I felt about it. And a similar one was Watch the Stars. I lost my way at one point, and I sent Jake an update, and I'm like, dude, Kill the Noise. I was like, dude, how's this one sound now? Check this out. And he was like, dude, you had such an awesome song. Like, this is cool what you have here, but like, you had a great tune there, and things like that are just so helpful, having those boys. Jason Ross, great too with this stuff. All of them, really.
Yeah. And something I really respect about Ophelia is that they have a consistent brand identity and brand artwork. Like they're one of the only labels out there who has really done an excellent job of having that tone to their artwork. And I'm assuming they've had the same designer doing it all this whole time. Yeah. Yes. But that to me builds so much equity in a brand where it's like you see the artwork and there doesn't have to be text or a logo on it. And you know it right away. It's from Ophelia.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it really is. And it's interesting, even when they'll do a bigger project, like an album, those will have designs that deviate more. Like we just dropped the artwork for our album, and that's different than your typical thing. But even when they do that, there's always such a high level of quality control that nothing's going to come through there musically, visually, anything like that isn't high quality, which is really cool.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Actually, the Will at 95 wants to know, what are your secrets to making a good steak?
Oh, that depends on the cut.
Okay, what's your favorite cut? And then what are your secrets for that?
So
Michelin star chef over here.
Okay, so it depends really on the squad, depends on the situation, depends on the circumstances. If I want to, maybe impress somebody special, I might just cook a fillet or two, And if you do something like that, I love to do it on a cast iron skillet. It's going to retain the heat much better. It's not. It will not let the steak's cool temperature impose its thermodynamic elements. You can hit it hard. You sear. What I'll do is typically reverse sear. I'll get it to a temperature in the oven, slow and low, slow and low. Take your time. Drink some wine, some whiskey, whatever it is. Kick back, relax. And when it's about 10, 15 degrees below where you want it, you pull it out. Hit it hard, screaming hot on the pan. Get that thing charred on each side. A little rosemary, butter. Your salt, pepper. You shouldn't eat anything crazy. I love doing a ribeye sometimes. A lot of people love the ribeye. Sorry.
I was just saying, oh yes, that sounds really good.
A lot of people love the ribeye. It's culturally very hot right now. The ribeye.
It's trending.
It's very much. We're so in right now with the ribeye.
It's so in.
We're so in.
We are so back. Even when you wear it. But and ribeyes are cool. Now, one thing that people run into with ribeyes is everybody knows you want your steaks, typically, it's cool to say like my steak rare, medium rare, which I do, but a ribeye, I don't think you want to do that because the strength to the ribeye is the fat content. And what's going to happen if you don't cook that steak, if you don't give it a nice cook, that fat is just going to sit there and be chewy. And now you're taking strength of the cut, which is the flavor of the fat, and you're turning into a weakness because now you just have this chewy, gristly piece of meat. Whereas if you cook it up to a nice solid medium, get it high 130s, maybe not quite 140s, 137. Come on, that fat's going to render. It's going to melt in your mouth, and you're going to have something great. So that's a little commonly, I think that's a misconception, is people undercooking the ribeyes a little bit.
So
I've been guilty of that.
I mean, and it's understandable. But you know the feeling when you do the ribeye and then you don't cook it enough, and it's like just like falling apart, and it's just like you know.
Do you have like a cooking show outside of this? Because like the way you're talking and the scripted, like it sounds like it's all scripted. Like you have it all memorized, and I'm just like,
I should. I used to do it on Instagram stories, and
you did. Those were always entertaining to watch.
I've received some complaints lately that I haven't done it in long enough. So maybe I should kick that back into gear.
Dude, that's like some of the most unique, strong content any artist could have.
Like the spices in your green rooms and everything, you know, like people love that content. It's relatable. It's funny.
It's possible I've lost my way here a bit.
You need to put this in the album rollout, dude.
I'm gonna
make an album recipe.
I'm just gonna start doing it a little bit more frequently again now that the album's coming out. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just do that and talk about the album more.
And it's like the fans want to see content of your personal life, you know, like that's why I respect Keizo so much. He's always posting about beef and like Cheney and like all of them. And it's just great to see the personal side of an artist. So you really got that going for you in the kitchen.
That's a fantastic point. And you know what? I appreciate that. I'll make a conscious effort to bring that back. I appreciate you bringing that back into my field of vision here.
There you go.
Like, hey, tonight we're making Alaska and make salmon or something. Related.
I love that.
Ocean might be even better for that.
Mm-hmm. Ocean, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Alaska could be like king crab.
Oh, all right. I'm not that good in the kitchen.
It's not easy to make that, to be honest.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I cook like 3 things.
Actually, a fun fact about me, in college, I had a cooking show and I was working for the school paper, the Collegian, and my friend and I, we got sponsored by Whole Foods, and they let us go into Whole Foods once a month and buy whatever we wanted and then use their kitchen that they had, like their test kitchen or whatever in the back. And we just filmed our cooking show and we made different recipes. Still on YouTube. It's called Collegian Cooks if you want to look it up.
How am I not just finding out about this?
There's a lot you don't know about me.
Apparently.
Man, what am I doing with myself over here?
I know. I'm like, you need to get a Whole Foods sponsorship.
I know.
I'm sure they would sponsor you and let you do that.
Yeah, call their asses up after this.
I don't know if I got the sauce that you got here, but maybe I'll try.
Hey, worth a shot. If music fails, you got cooking to fall back on.
I am a failed DJ at Whole Foods. Can I interest you in my services?
Yeah. Oh my God. Too much.
That'd be such a good headline.
Yeah.
Failed DJ.
I got, probably, it was a little bit before the pandemic. We got a legitimate offer for me to go. I had never played in Hawaii yet. And it was for me to fly to Hawaii and be the chef for on site for the filming of a movie. And I was like, I don't know who you think I am, but I cook maybe 3, 4, 5 things well. I can't make a curated, it's not even that I just like can't, like I'm nowhere close to being able to do that. I was like, who do you think? And we like checked and we were like, are you talking about the right Sam? And we want him. It would be about 19 to 25 actors. There would be a few dietary restrictions and you'd be responsible for 2 meals a day. And I'm like,
you're like, I am not qualified for this.
Very underqualified. And then thankfully the pandemic came and shut everything down.
Thank God.
Crisis averted.
It's like that.
I probably would have had to say yes. It was really good money at the time. It was like a YOLO experience. But
YOLO for sure.
No, I was about to say it's like that meme where it's like when you say yes to the job and you're not qualified at all for it. And you're just like.
I would have been the embodiment of that. Yes.
Damn.
That's funny. Well, we actually have a lightning round to get to. So I don't know if you've seen our interviews or seen the lightning rounds, but basically, you know the drill. We just spit questions at you and just answer as quick as you can.
Yep.
So, all right, I'll kick us off. In-N-Out or Whataburger?
Whataburger.
Oh, yussy.
I actually don't remember the difference. I just shouted one out.
Canceled. All right, we're done. Interview's done.
Bye. No.
Which is the one that's animal style?
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh, you're changing your answer now.
You're changing your answer.
That's the one I like. Whichever one has animal style.
Okay, that's the correct answer.
Let's edit that. You can keep it.
Raw.
Where's the real base capital of the world?
I'm not the best answer because a lot of the stuff I play isn't that heavy, but I want to say, I mean, I got to say it's Montreal.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe or Denver. It's Montreal or Denver, I would say. Yeah. I wouldn't know. I feel like Denver got really wubby over the last X amount of years. So a lot of times I go there and I'm like, man, I thought you guys knew my songs more than you did. So maybe that does mean they're the bass capital because I feel like a lot of them just kind of want to just like headbang. So yeah, so maybe they are for that reason, but I wouldn't know because I'm not playing all like heavy stuff all night.
Yeah.
That was not a lightning answer. I'm gonna be fast.
That was the PR answer right there.
I will say though, Denver has become like the rhythm capital because kids out here love rhythm. Like they go fucking crazy for it. It's kind of funny to see. Chrissy is a rhythm rat.
Dude, yeah, like any rhythm artist, it can be a small one too. Kids will be lined up, ready to go. Like there's a rhythm show, we're going, you know.
High knees, like it'll be only like 5 people in the crowd and everyone is just like jumping up and down, doing high knees, going crazy.
Yeah, I feel like you'll see a dubstep act come to like Florida, and it'll be an act that's like does like 250 tickets in Florida or Cali or something, and then goes and like does Mission Ballroom or something, you know, like
Mission Ballroom. Yeah. I love that venue. Have you played there?
I have as support for Sullivan King back to back with Blank. It was a lot of fun.
Oh wow,
beautiful.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was that last year?
Oh, no, that was a couple years ago. That was a few years ago. It was great time.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's a Denver stop on your tour.
Yeah. We got I've never played Cervantes. Cervantes?
Oh yeah,
Cervantes.
Here it's a fun time.
It is.
It's a cool venue.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hell yeah. We'll possibly catch you there.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to play at festivals or small intimate rooms?
Ooh, I like them both for different reasons. It also depends on the festival. Like I love playing like a Lost in Dreams or any of those Insomniac West Coast festivals. My kind of music goes really well there. It's a real layup. Sometimes it's a little scary going to festivals where people don't know the music as well. I do love it. I love a nice headline show, you know, with a great crowd, even if it's not a huge room, you know, that can be some of the best time.
Yeah. What is your pre-show routine?
Tequila until 30 minutes before. And then I hard cut and then use the bathroom like 3 minutes before I go on. That's for obvious reasons. And then I used to, when I was wearing tank tops, I would do push-ups and I would lift things before I go on stage. Now I'm wearing sleeves more, so I don't do that as much. And that's pretty much it. I like to get to the show early and hang out with people though, you know, not be like,
that's the best.
You know, I don't want to like wake up from a nap and be like, oh, I'm on in 45. Let's go to the venue, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of tequila?
I was literally about to ask that.
We have recently graduated to the spot where venues are starting to honor the 42 request.
Ooh, look at you, bougie.
We got a big shot over here.
Got the M3, got the 1942. Damn.
Jeez. Young celeb.
You know, a lot of times we'll get to Casamigos, which I'm not complaining about, you know.
Yeah.
Casamigos Reposado?
Of course. Yeah.
Reposado gang.
Yeah. Reposado. Always.
Reposado all day.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Well, the next question was, what is on your rider? We already know the answer, but what else is on your rider?
Yeah, obviously we have the Casamigos Reposado. We have hot sauce. They usually will come through with that. Not really the best idea for touring because tummy aches.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I need to be very brave when that happens. But I take the sauces home. Hot sauce. I got what do we got on there? I used to have salt and vinegar chips, but when I get drunk, I cannot be trusted around them, and I wake up with my mouth all messed up. So took those off. I have like tortilla chips, a White Claw, and brewskis. Nothing too crazy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good little boy dinner right there.
That's it. Boy dinner right there for sure.
Yeah. What's like the best the best hot sauce you've gotten?
Ooh, that I've gotten is a great question. Ooh.
Or I guess like the most memorable one. Like, has there been a venue where they like outdid themselves with the request for that on the rider?
Yeah.
And it just like blew you away?
Yeah, there have been a few. I can't remember which, but there have been a few where I'll get like local. It'll be some like small batch local sauce. That's just like, it'll just knock my socks off. It'll be something incredible. I've had 2 fans bring me a sauce called Ghost in the Machine for, because of the song. I have a song Ghost in the Machine. And that sauce is incredible. It's one of my favorite sauces. So that's a really cool one. But usually when it's something like local and like small batch and really interesting, that's usually when it's really exciting.
Love it.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any superstitions?
Good question. I don't think I'm very superstitious. No. I think I just kind of run forward into the world and let it rip.
There you go.
Send it.
Send it.
Well, send it.
Yep.
Who has been your biggest mentor? Music mentor, I should say.
Good question. For a while, years ago, an artist named Varian was living with me at the time, and there was like a definite mentorship pipeline going on there. Then I know I'm forgetting somebody who is like very helpful that I'm gonna feel really bad about afterwards. Honestly, probably without realizing it, Jake Kill the Noise has been one of them. Jake has just been, because he's older than I think George Washington, so he's seen it all.
Yeah.
And has an eloquent way of putting everything. So he's definitely been one of the best ones. I would say of people I talk to really frequently now, maybe Jake. I don't know if there's been one in particular this whole time, but yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm gonna give it to Jake.
Yeah.
Shout out Jake.
Shout out Jake.
How many Lost Lands have you played?
3. First one was a little sound camp, and then I did the Asteroid. You guys know the Asteroid?
Love that.
I think that's when we met you, and you had played that.
Probably would be then, because I would have met you. It was like Wooly had like the daytime set on the big stage or something where I met you.
Yeah. And then we went to your set. That shit was overflowed. We couldn't even
love that.
We couldn't even go in.
Yeah.
So you packed that shit out.
I was like covered in soot when I finished. And then the last one is the one that's on YouTube. It was like a Sunday afternoon. And it's like Sunday afternoon at Lost Lands is a pretty gnarly time slot. Like, because everybody is you'll have these kids been there for 5 days, and they've heard so much music. And not only have they heard so much music, but you know how you feel after 5 days at a festival,
Out with the dust and everything too.
Oh my God.
Even one day for me, I'm like, shit, I can't.
One night.
After one night.
Rolling out of the campsite.
And it's hot and it's been humid in the past.
And this one was gray and like gloomy. And it was like, here comes Sam to play some not dubstep for an hour,
Yeah.
But it actually went really well. I really enjoyed it. This year, we're taking a year off from it, but I'm sure we'll be back.
You'll be missed. I'm sure your songs will be played.
I'm sure. Yeah, we'll probably get a couple islands.
Yeah, maybe that collab.
Oh, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, by the time this drops, we'll know then.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. That'll definitely get played.
Our last question and our most famous one. Fuck, marry, kill.
Bring it.
Wooly, 7 lions, kill the noise.
All right.
Tough one, I know. We're putting you on the spot.
This is, and there's different reasons for each. I think you fuck Jeff because he's just a beautiful man. He, I mean, he's just a stunning human in general. Then I think I'm marrying Jake because, over a long period of time, I feel like, Jake would help me through life as a companion would, and Wooly, I don't have to put up with the shit if I kill him. So,
damn, no more memes from Wooly then.
Shit. You're right.
That's a loss.
Yeah, that's a loss right there.
Well, you're setting me up for failure. I'm losing something with all of them.
You can always resurrect him.
He had an EP called Resurrection.
See?
There you go.
That's the one artist that applies to.
Correct. So I stand by my answer.
Great answer. You thought that one. You had these questions beforehand.
I might have been thinking about it.
Do you have a microphone on your ear? I think I see a microphone. Are you talking to somebody?
I think he has a Secret Service on him or something.
Yeah.
They can see.
All right. Cut. That's it for the interview. No more. No more.
All right. We're tossing this interview. No more.
Yeah. We tried.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't get him every time.
Yeah. That was a great interview.
It's great.
Yeah. Over an hour long. Shit.
Come on.
And not a dull moment. There were inspirational moments, there were insightful moments and funny moments.
Yeah, it went by almost as fast as the month of August.
There you go.
Literally, though, I'm like, oh shit, my work is blowing up right now.
I know.
Yeah.
People want the Blazy Susan. Got to give it to them.
There you go. There's that. It was great. I love what you guys do. It was really great talking to you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks for taking an hour out of your day to help us uncover the scoop.
Yo, yeah. Consider the scoop investigated. When they told me you guys were down, I was really stoked. So
yay!
Likewise, yeah. We've been wanting to interview you ever since we met you at Lost Land.
Oh,
so
hell yeah!
I'm glad that we finally made this happen.